that's with the genuine Filter Queen cone. I know I have measured about 120 something out of the black models that were about two. Well, there was a model in between, so about 2 generations newer than this, and I got about 122, but when I initially measured this, I got about 110 from it. So I thought maybe the difference was in the filter cones. So I figured because I have both genuine and aftermarket, I would try both. So I just actually did the test with the EnviroCare and I got 48 something. So we're getting slightly higher airflow readings with the EnviroCare filter, although I do think there is something to the genuine cones. I think they might filter better, but I don't have any way to prove that. I figured I'll just throw that EnviroCare one back in and we'll run the test again just to be sure. So I am definitely getting higher numbers with the EnviroCare. And I could be wrong here, but it does seem to me like this is a little bit more open, maybe? Which is probably not a good thing when it comes to filtration. But let's hold the genuine up this way too. Yeah. It seems to me like this one lets less light through, so I'm guessing it is better at filtering, but it's also more restrictive. I guess when I had measured that M360 before, I can't be sure what I had in it. I'll probably use the genuine for my testing though, just because, well, I would rather have slightly higher filtration, but, you know, everyone's going to have their own preference. To my knowledge, the Majestic 360 was the first of the Filter Queens to exclusively use the single-stage motor. I believe I've heard people tell me the 75th had a single stage, but I've had two of them which both had a dual stage. Granted, that dual stage was smaller than the previous generations of dual stages found in like the Triple Crown, or at least it seemed like it was. But anyways, I thought there might be a difference in the newer Filter Queen models, but having opened up the anniversary model that came after this one, which was kind of that light blue with the swirls on it, if I can figure out how to edit it in, I'll throw in a picture of it. I opened one up at the vac shop to see what was in it, and then a friend of mine picked up one of the black models with the silver swirls on it, and that also has the same motor as this. So I don't think they have changed the motor since, but I thought it would be worth looking into because I did come across a difference when I had measured this for the first time versus the M360 black I had measured before. So I figured since someone I know has one, I'll have them take a look. But anyways, let's get on to the testing portion, which is what I'm sure you guys have come here to see. I suppose we'll start off with the airflow testing since they already have it on here, but afterwards we'll take that off and then we'll do the wattage voltage. Little out of order, but whatever. So we'll start on low speed here with the genuine Filter Queen cone installed. what it is about this design that causes it to do that. Because most of the machines are at their peak within moments, but this one takes a little bit to get up there. The motor, at least to my knowledge, was pretty healthy, or at least it certainly looked like it. And I had to open this thing up to clean it. But alright, so we got the base airflow readings taken, so now let's move on to voltage. Start on low. And then we'll move up to high. So if memory serves, this is actually using a little bit less wattage, about 25 fewer watts. I think I measured the M360 Black at about 1108, I want to say, on high. So a little bit of a difference there, but suction testing. The suction numbers are pretty good on here. My Princess 2, even with the bad bearings on it, has more suction. Of course, that's to be expected from a dual stage. Typically, more suction, but also lower in flow. Although, we'll see how the Princess does after its refurb. Alright, now for some hose flow testing. I don't know that I'll be able to get a good suction reading off the end of the hose. The inlets are non-standard and they're not really flat. I mean, I will try, but I don't know that I'll get a good measurement. So, starting on low. And there it goes again. Maybe not. Well, we seem to be holding steady, so I think I'll just switch this into high. It'll bring this back a little bit. Alright. And then we'll try to do the hose suction. Well, I can tell it leaks a little around here, but can't help it. Now we're on to high. Alright, so we got the one set up on here, and this may prove a little bit more problematic for the suction testing since it's even larger, so I may not get a good seal on that. But again, we start on low. Well, we seem to be holding steady there, so I think I'm just going to go switch this over. Yeah, we seem to be holding steady now, so we'll call it at that. And now the moment of truth with this. Yeah, a lot of leaking. But actually, hold up. That still won't prevent it from leaking around the latch, but... Yeah, we're still leaking. I can hear it. Well, suction's definitely gone down. And now we're in high. Alright, and now we're down to the box. Once again, starting on low. Put the nozzle off. I think we're done. So, let's do this with the nozzle on. Try the suction cup. Well, nose diving. We got some air leaking around here, and a little around here, but I mean, that's a pretty good seal. That's a pretty well sealed nozzle, really. So it's like they might not have a huge amount of power to them, at least raw power, but their nozzle is quite well designed. And now we're on to high power. We'll just set that. Starting with the nozzle off. So it seems like that's all we're gonna get. Yep. So, suction test. Went up a little bit. Now we'll turn the nozzle on. Just to be sure, let's turn the nozzle back on. Because I don't always remember the numbers while I'm recording, but sometimes I think, when the nozzle tugs itself off the box like that, it might affect the seals. Huh. Yeah. Because, we should never draw... We should never be able to draw more CFM with the nozzle running unless it's a tandem air. So, I guess this is what we have with that. Alright. Let's turn the nozzle back on and do suction. An interesting thing about these is they actually seem to have a 2-speed power nozzle too. So when this is in low speed, our power nozzle will be. So we're on low. And then we'll switch it over to high. Well, maybe not. Maybe it was just the old generation. A well-sealed nozzle will give some agitation. So we'll switch it back up to high. So, I know some people don't like this power nozzle, but it was definitely an improvement over the old shoebox style they had before. The brush roll on here isn't overly stiff. Actually, it's pretty soft. But clearly it has some agitation to it, and it has a fairly small opening too, so it concentrates the power it does have. And it is pretty well sealed, retaining about half of its suction. Of course, you don't want to retain too much, or it's just going to stick to the floor. But I've always wondered how these would do if they had a more powerful motor in the main unit. And perhaps that's something I'll experiment with one day. Just sticking a 5.7 motor into it instead of the 5.1 they've chosen to use. Something with a little more power to it. Because I like certain parts of it. I like the power head. It's compact, it's easy to get into areas with it and gets under things well. And it doesn't seem to clean bad. And then this hose handle is something I actually like. Because you can either choose to hold it here or you can hold it at the back. And it's pretty comfortable in either position. But I'm not fond of some of their hand tools for this, in particular this upholstery tool. And this creates so much noise when you use it, and I think the reason for that is because it's so narrow. It's really very narrow, so it makes kind of a hissing noise, and I think I could be mistaken about this, but I feel like that was intentionally done by them in order to make the vacuum sound powerful. But that's just speculation.